You turn to see the shade of the princess staring down at you from the top of the stairs.
Rush for the blade.
The princess eyes you with a disaffected gaze as you rush up the stairs, but you don't make it past the first few steps.
What? Why not?
The door bursts open.
Chapter 1. The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Killing the princess seems kind of bad, though, doesn't it?
Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society.
Silently continue to the cabin.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them.
Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Take the blade.
You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Hi.
Don't be a stranger. It's been so long since I've had any visitors. Come on down.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
I don't know yet. I haven't decided yet.
How about you drop the knife and the two of us just talk?
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us.
Drop it.
The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you.
No problem.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face, unarmed. We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship.
Yeah, it's, pretty awkward.
I know. I just said that. Now why are you here to kill me?
I'm not here to kill you. I've been told things, but I'm not sure what to believe.
Believe me.
And do you think asking me what to believe is going to suddenly make everything crystal clear?
Mm-hmm.
Let's not pretend that's going to happen. As far as you're concerned, and as far as they're concerned, I'm going to say whatever I have to get out of here. That's just the dynamic of our situation.
You're not making a strong case for yourself. I'm here because you're supposed to end the world.
Don't just tell her that.
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here a long time.
Just how long has she been down here?
If I'm supposed to be capable of ending the world, then how did I wind up here, chained to a wall? Have they told you why I'm allegedly so dangerous?
They have not. No. And if I'm being honest, I'm more inclined to trust you than inclined to trust them.
Sooner or later, you'll understand that I have your best interests at heart. Hopefully sooner.
How sweet. Now be a pal and help me get out of here, would you? We could figure out how to deal with them after I'm free.
Maybe. Examine the chains. I'll see what I can do.
You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
As most chains are.
I'm guessing you don't have the key.
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
I'm going to check upstairs. Maybe the key's still lying around somewhere up there. And if not, maybe I can find something to break you free.
I'll be here.
Yes, you will.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here?
Try the door.
You try the door, but it's locked from the outside.
Bastards.
You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You make your way back to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd simply slain her like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
They did.
The knife. Pick it up and cut me out of here.
You won't like what happens if you do that.
Save the princess.
Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the princess's arm, just above the massive, unyielding chain. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and you make quick work of it. Before long, you're able to crack through bone, and she pulls the bleeding stub of her arm through the iron gauntlet. She didn't so much as utter a sound.
She didn't.
Free from her bindings, the princess turns to face you, her fierce gaze meeting your eye. How is she so composed after losing an arm? It's like she isn't even bothered by it.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
She's so cool, calm, and collected. Approach the locked door.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I just can't let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me.
Abuse of power, narrator. Warn her.
Stop that.
I thought this was a little too easy.
Your body lunges forward to sink the blade into her back, but the princess swiftly moves out of the way before you can connect. Stop it! Stop resisting me! I am trying to get you out of here alive.
Resist.
The blade. Move the blade.
You're doing your best to help me, aren't you? I can see the conflict in your eyes.
I am.
I'll make this quick.
She steps forward and pries the blade from your rigid hands.
Maybe I'll see you in another life.
And then she slits your throat with an almost clinical ease. Her face remains unchanged as she watches you collapse to the ground, blood flowing from your butchered neck. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. I hope it was worth it.
See. Chapter 2, The Prisoner.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
I'm getting a terrible sense of deja vu.
A terrible sense of deja vu? No, you don't have that. This is the first time either of us have been here.
Don't gaslight me.
Don't forget what he did to us the last time around. I wouldn't trust a word out of his mouth. There's got to be a way out of here, for us and for the princess. We just have to keep trying. I'm inclined to agree. If he doesn't remember what happened last time, maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you two, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. And as far as trying to help her goes, need I remind you how catastrophically dangerous she is to the world at large? I told you about the stakes of this situation less than a minute ago.
This is more than just deja vu, though. I'm pretty sure this whole thing already happened.
We could go back and forth on this forever, and it won't get you any closer to doing your job and saving the world. So let's just agree to disagree.
Let's assume I'm telling the truth, and all this did already happen. Why should I listen to you? Why should I bother doing anything at all?
Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. If you're back here, I'm assuming you died, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. The absolute irony. Well, that's one way to put it, I guess. You really don't remember what happened last time, do you? You practically forced the princess to kill us. That doesn't sound like the sort of thing I'd do, which is honestly all the more reason for you to not buy into whatever self-delusions the three of you are crafting. But this is a thought experiment, so I suppose I'll continue to give you the benefit of the doubt. If I did practically force the princess to kill you, it was probably for a good reason. Did you try and free her? Did you say something really mean to me? Because if I really did what you said I did, you probably deserved it. I'm a professional, after all. Sure you are. Anyway, I believe your second question was, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. You forced the princess to kill us and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died?
Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? What a conveniently ambiguous group of things for her to ruin. For all we know, the princess left the cabin and never saw another soul. Oh, how I wish that were the case, but if the princess weren't a certain, inevitable threat to the world, the four of us wouldn't be here. And yet, here we are. You're talking in circles. No, I'm talking in facts.
Proceed to the cabin.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
Yes, don't believe a word she says. Just go in, take the knife, and do what you're supposed to. Wink.
Did you just say wink out loud?
No, I didn't. Wink.
Just ignore this clown and focus on the princess.
Proceed into the cabin.
The interior of the cabin is less a cozy woodland retreat and more like a dungeon. A few pathetic wisps of starlight attempt to illuminate the cold, uninviting stone walls, and thick, wrought iron bars barricade the windows, reminding anyone who enters that this is a prison. The only furniture of note is an iron table, bolted to the floor, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Take the blade.
You take the blade from the table. It will be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon.
Good idea. Much better to be armed than to go in with blind hope alone.
Enter the basement.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an old stone staircase. A few sputtering torches attempt to vaguely illuminate your path, dancing across glimmering patches of slimy moss on the stone steps. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice, harsh but controlled, carries up the stairs.
Is that a visitor I hear? Please, come downstairs. It's been a while since I've had company.
Does she remember us?
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. She looks up at you, the heavy collar around her neck clanking loudly as she moves. The chains binding both her wrists to the far wall, joining the metallic chorus as she adjusts her hands in her lap.
So much for cutting her out of here.
Do you hear yourself right now? Cutting her out of here never should have been on the table.
Have you noticed the empty chain on the wall? Odd that in a place where everything seems to serve a distinct purpose, there would be something so obviously useless.
That's true.
That was there last time too, wasn't it?
It was.
What an interesting development. Why don't you have a seat? The two of us should chat before you bury that thing in my heart.
Sit with her.
You step towards the princess, but she stops you before you get too close, holding up one shackled hand.
There's fine. I'd prefer we keep some distance until we've sorted this out.
Very diplomatic, this one.
That's reasonable. We do have a weapon. Might as well put her at ease.
Sit where you were told to sit.
You do as she asks and sit on the floor, still a good distance away from her.
Thank you. Now, what are your intentions for me?
I don't know yet. I've been here before. Am I the only one who remembers this?
Oh, are we acknowledging that? I thought we weren't going to give away the game. But yeah, I remember.
I guess what you said back in the woods really was true. As much as I would like to remain in denial, it's no use. This has complicated things.
It's complicated things how, exactly?
Ideally, this was supposed to be one and done. You go to the cabin, you heroically slay the princess, and in the process you save the entire world from being damned to oblivion. The situation right now, where you're getting a second shot at things, is a contingency.
A contingency for what?
For you failing, obviously. And you being here means that things are going to be a lot harder than they were. I really shouldn't say anything else, I'm just going to make it worse. Just good luck.
Now hold on, if you knew this could happen, why didn't you believe us back in the woods? Why lay out all those hypotheticals? We didn't have to talk in circles.
I needed you to believe this was your first time here, even if that wasn't the truth. I hoped if I pushed back hard enough I could cram this seeping mess back into the bottle. And maybe I wanted to be the first version of me that you met. I didn't want to be confronted by the alternative.
That's pathetic.
I never said I wasn't. I get it. It would be pretty upsetting, wouldn't it? To know that you might not be the first version of yourself. At least we can remember what happened before. Seems like we should count ourselves lucky for that. Exactly, he gets it. You're lucky, so don't waste that luck by messing it up again. Alright?
Oh,
Moving on. Why is it important for us to be ignorant? How is it ever helpful to be in the dark?
The more I say, the more your mind will swim into dangerous waters. Even saying that is too much. Your success hinges on you having imperfect information. For the sake of the entire world, you need to accept that.
I won't.
Fine, but you won't get another word from me on the matter.
Yeah, sure. We'll see about that.
Just give it a rest, this isn't helping.
Focus. This is a serious situation. You shouldn't be daydreaming.
I was just gonna say, she's very patient while I talk to myself as I sit crisscross applesauce. You were asking about my intentions earlier. What did you mean by that?
Yes, your intentions. You have a knife. What are you going to do with it? Why are you here? There isn't a keyhole in these shackles, and I don't see any keys in your hands either. So I'm afraid my only way out is another surgical removal.
Is she forgetting about the shackle on her neck?
Or does she think she'd survive a beheading?
You're right. Maybe she's delusional. All the more reason not to trust her.
Unless she really could survive.
Though I suppose you could just be here to kill me. But I don't think that's in either of our best interests.
You realize that I have as much reason to distrust you as you have to distrust me, right?
I do. So I guess this all comes down to which of us caves first. And it's not going to be me.
I know that.
I'm extremely patient.
It's probably better if we take action anyway. No use trying to wait her out. That's playing to her strengths.
Slay the princess.
I am not a damsel to be helplessly murdered.
As you move to strike the princess, she stands, her chains clinking as she wraps them around her fists.
Okay.
In an instant they're around your neck, both of you dropping to the ground as she pulls them taut, bracing her body against yours as you struggle uselessly.
Drop it, or you die.
I thought this was going to be a safe move, but she's going to kill us again. Just listen to her, do what she says. How many times did I warn you she's not to be trusted? But while strangulation can be very distracting, she's not armed, and you have your pristine blade. End her before she ends you.
Slay the princess.
You steel your will and refuse to give in to the princess's demands, ignoring the stars dancing in your eyes and the screaming of your starved lungs. You strike. You fumble your first few attempts, only making surface-level scratches and gouges as your arm flails forward, barely able to obey you. But a single focused blow was all it took. Your blade pierces up through her ribs, slicing through flesh, striking her heart. The chains loosen. The darkness creeping in at the edges of your vision subsides.
None of this was ever very fair, was it? But I did kill you last time. I should have expected you might want some petty revenge. Unfortunately for you, that means you've dug your own grave. You can forget about me ever helping you again, even if it damns us both.
And just like that, the princess is slain and the world is saved. Whenever you're ready, you can proceed to your reward.
I don't like this. It was too easy.
It was not too easy. We almost died. That's right. This was an incredibly difficult task, and you performed it admirably. Let's just get out of here. I don't like looking at her body. Plus, he said there'd be a reward. I'd appreciate a reward right about now.
You have the attention span of a fly. How are we supposed to unravel the mysteries of this place if you're so easily distracted by empty promises?
It's better to have a short attention span in a situation like this. There's no use dwelling on the past, especially when it's already set in stone. And especially when your promised reward is not, in fact, empty and is worth all the adversity you've been through to get here.
Doubt.
Fine. But if we're leaving, then we're taking the blade. I feel exposed without it.
With your work done, you remove the blade from the princess's corpse and make your way back upstairs, closing the door to the basement behind you. You can think of it as sealing yourself off from an unpleasant chapter of your life. It's all uphill from here.
The windows. Do you see that? We used to be able to see the outside world from up here, but now it's just empty. The door. Check the door.
Open the door and accept your reward.
You open the cabin door, ready to return to a world saved from certain doom. Only a world saved from certain doom isn't what you find. Instead, what you find is nothing at all. Where a lush forest stood mere minutes ago, the only thing in front of you now is the vast emptiness of some place far away.
You don't have to act surprised. We could see this vast emptiness through the windows.
But if everything's gone, does that mean we're not gonna get our reward? This is your reward. An eternity of bliss, if you'll have it. And I suggest that you have it. Okay. This is what's best for everyone. Trust me.
Like hell it is.
Huh? This is bullshit. Let us out of here.
What's done is done, and there's no going back now. Time passes. You can't be sure if it's days, or months, or years, or even decades. It's all a wonderful, boring blur. You've never been happier.
Lies.
Decades? No, it can't be decades. We can't go along with this. We can't let him win.
What do you suggest then?
We still have a blade. Let's use it on ourselves and start over.
He's suggesting you kill yourself. You shouldn't kill yourself when you have an eternity of bliss right in front of you.
Slay yourself.
You goddamn spiteful bastard. Are you really going to turn down immortality itself just to make me lose?
It's boring.
Why should it matter if we die at this point? Haven't you already gotten what you want?
I don't have to answer that.
That's all we needed to hear.
You raise the blade, then drive it into your heart. You collapse to the floor, everything goes dark, and you die. You're a genocidal maniac, you know that, right?
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Chapter 3. The Grey.
You're on a path in the woods. See, that wasn't so bad. And now we've got another chance to get to the bottom of things. Bit by bit, we're starting to unravel this place. There are so many more threads to pull once you stop feeling. That's a little dark, buddy. You feeling okay? I'm feeling nothing, and I like that just fine.
He's not wrong. Sentimentality won't help us here. We need scientific rigor.
So you've been here before. Of course you've been here before. What count is it this time? 2? It's our 3rd. What gave it away? Your open discussions.
The last time we were here, you were in full-blown denial about the possibility of us restarting. What changed? Have you just been pretending to forget?
I'm afraid not. Whatever other versions of me you've met in those other lifetimes were just that. Other versions of me. I just wish I'd been the first.
So you knew how all this worked. Why didn't you ever tell us? We could have used it to our advantage.
That's because there is no using it to your advantage. The more information you have, the harder it will be for you to succeed. It's not like it was that difficult to slay her last time. She may have put up a fight, but her flesh is still softer than our blade. And now she's dead, and I doubt she'll be able to do much of anything from the grave.
You already slew her? And you survived?
Yes.
Then why, pray tell, are you here?
Oh, I know that one. We killed ourselves.
Why?
Because you thought trying to stuff us away in a corner for eternity was a suitable reward.
Was it not? What better reward is there than eternal bliss? You should have been happy. We weren't.
We were bored.
You were bored. I was just unhappy. There were still answers that we needed to find. It was actually working. And you killed yourself. I can't believe it. You ruined everything. How does us dying ruin everything? What aren't you telling us? The world doesn't stay saved if you die. And if the world isn't saved, then that means she isn't dead.
Oh, now isn't that interesting? I assumed she'd just be a pile of old bones. But perhaps she's not. There's only one way to find out. We should go see her.
Whatever happens next, it seems like our answers are in the cabin. We might as well see this through. Proceed to the cabin.
I'm sure you've already heard my words of warning in one of your past lives. You've already managed to slay her once, just don't muck it up this time, all right? What we do is entirely up to us.
And we have all those mysteries to unravel. Isn't that right?
You aren't here to solve a mystery. You're here to save the world. That's what you say. But how can we be sure?
We can't be sure of anything except what's right in front of us.
Okay, but we should care about the fate of the world.
Why?
Because we should. I don't know. It's important.
Is it?
Yes. I think. For all we know, the world you're talking about isn't even real. Of course it's real. Where do you think you are? Somewhere else?
I don't know.
Maybe we are. This is horribly unproductive. The cabin and your extremely important destiny await.
Proceed into the cabin.
As soon as you enter the cabin, you're struck by an overwhelming scent of decay, of mold and death and stagnant water. The once stately wooden building is bloated, its beams dripping with a black ooze of putrefaction, all but the exterior stone walls warped beyond recognition. It must have been beautiful once, but in its ruin, it is beyond repulsive. But you're not alone. You can feel something watching you. There is a figure faintly outlined against the rotting wood of the wall. Is that her. It's like she
Yes.
isn't even there. See? We killed her. You're right. Maybe she doesn't reset like us. She certainly doesn't look the same as she did last time. Before you can make a move, the figure is gone, vanishing behind the door on the far side of the room. The door at the end of the room, but there isn't a door. There's a mirror, that's it. The mirror? Is this some kind of joke? Did you all plan this out before dying? There is no mirror. There's the door to the basement, the table, and the pristine blade. Huh. That's strange. There's supposed to be a pristine blade. Why isn't there a pristine blade?
Oh, it was in her.
Maybe it's gone because we've already killed her with it. But we had it with us when we died. And besides, everything else has reset. Why wouldn't the blade have reset too? Maybe it's because we've already explored that avenue. We've seen what happens when we slay her. Maybe this place has decided we don't need to try that again. I suppose it doesn't matter why the blade is gone, but you're going to have to find it if you're going to do this right. So why don't you march over to that door and make your way down to the basement?
Approach the mirror.
You make your way to the door at the end of the room, stopping just in front of it. You must think you're looking at that mirror you mentioned earlier, the one that doesn't exist. Just reach forward and open the door. It's so hazy. We should try and clean it off.
Wipe the mirror clean.
You reach forward and place your hand on the door to the basement. The handle is just a little to your right, and a little down. Yeah, we can see it now. So much for our reflection. We didn't need to see ourselves anyway. I'm much more interested in seeing other things. No way left to go but down.
Enter the basement.
The door to the basement groans open. The air is foul and wet, so thick that you can almost feel it settle onto your skin in layers of grime. The stairs are coated with slimy algae, the wood rotted through in places, reeking of fetid vegetation. A wispy figure watches you from the bottom of the stairs, face veiled in shadows, legs submerged up to her shins in dark waters. There she is again. Barely. She's just an old memory. Your eyes lock for a brief moment, then she vanishes around the corner.
I think we have a lot to talk about.
You receive no response. Do you think she's upset with us? I don't like being here unarmed after what happened last time. I feel so exposed. She doesn't seem fully there. I'm not sure she's even capable of being upset. You aren't helping. Are you scared of a little ghost? What's she going to do? Look at us until we feel bad? She can look all she wants. It won't do anything.
Proceed down the stairs.
As you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view. A bloated body floating face down in slowly rising waters. Her wrist still bound to the wall by a heavy chain. This cell is a dark and isolated place, with not so much as a window to allow starlight to penetrate the gloom. See? She's dead. She's not just dead. It looks like she's been rotting. So killing her does stick. Mostly. But if she's dead, then what are we supposed to do? She isn't dead. You clearly just believe she is. Her corpse is floating right in front of us. You can stop it with the mind games. If she's dead, then do we even have to do anything? How can she be a threat to the world like this? Your thoughts are cut short by the sound of a slamming door and a clicking lock.
Uh-oh.
You turn to see the shade of the princess staring down at you from the top of the stairs. So that's where the blade is. It's already in her heart. And yet she isn't dead. She is dead. Have you never heard of a ghost before? Oh, for the love of... Can we not waste time arguing over the semantics of what is and isn't dead? She is clearly conscious. She clearly just slammed the door on you, and she clearly has a weapon. Your pristine blade sticking out of her chest. This is extremely bad. Catastrophic, even. Yeah, dead or not, what are we supposed to do about her? Slaying, or destroying, if we want to be a little more death neutral, seems off the table. Yeah, this is tricky. But let's talk to her. See what kind of information she has that we don't. But she hasn't said anything. Are you sure she can talk like this?
I don't know.
Bold of you to come back here after what you did.
She can. Why did you close the door?
But she doesn't answer your question. All she does is watch you in shadowed silence.
Water.
Do you hear that trickling sound? The water's rising, isn't it? It is, and it's rising fast. Oh, that's interesting. We've never drowned before. I wonder how it'll feel. Bad, I bet. I don't think dying ever feels good. Yes, how astute. Dying is bad and you should avoid it. How about you stop trying to talk to her and do something instead?
Let me out. Are you trying to kill me?
No, you're killing yourself.
Huh?
The water is rising faster now. It's flowing in from some unseen place, and judging by the height of the algae on the stairs, it has no intention of stopping anytime soon. You feel it creeping up your back, so cold that it steals the very warmth from your flesh, leaving a smothering numbness in its place. Are you really just going to stand there and let yourself die? Yeah, let's think. Where is it coming from? It's coming from some unseen place. Does it really matter where it's coming from? Because I can feel it rising. I don't think we have much time to sleuth. Yes, it matters. Maybe we can find a way out. Maybe we can figure out a way to make this work. This is just a puzzle. We can solve it. Some things aren't puzzles to be solved. Sometimes you're doomed from the start. Most people are. Yes, most people are doomed. But in case you need reminding, everyone will be doomed forever unless you stop her.
Alright, we gotta do something. Rush for the blade.
The princess eyes you with a disaffected gaze as you rush up the stairs, but you don't make it past the first few steps.
What? Why not?
The door bursts open, a powerful wave of water crashing down towards you. You're swept up in the flood. Your head slams into the basement wall. You come to a moment later, suspended in darkness, disorientated, only aware of the surface of the water and the emptiness above. And of course, the princess, hovering above you, watching in silence as you struggle to stay afloat in the icy depths. There's no way out. It's so dark and cold, I think our limbs are slowing down. How much longer can we do this? Just keep breathing, we'll figure this out.
Oh, man.
Or we won't. It doesn't matter either way. But you don't have time to figure anything out. Something cold and clammy wraps around your ankle.
Ooh. No.
You're
Don't like
dragged
this.
under, only able to take one last hopeful gulp of air before your head is plunged into the freezing depths. As you sink below the surface, you see it. Or rather, you see her. The body you found floating when you first arrived, its hand
Oh my
is locked
God.
around your ankle, the heavy chains pulling you both down into the unfeeling, suffocating nothingness. I get it. We shouldn't have killed her. Just get it away from us, please. The past is the past. There's no changing it. There's nothing to fix. And there's not a lot we can do about the present either. Not unless we think like we should have been doing all along. But there is no thinking as you drown. You desperately try to pull yourself back to the surface again, and again, and again. Your icy limbs flailing desperately against the grip of her rotting corpse. And all the while her ghastly figure stares down at you, expressionless, as unfeeling as the weight around your ankle.
Your lungs filled with water, the same as mine filled with blood. In the end, we're not so different.
Huh, okay. But your lungs don't fill, nor will they ever. It's time for you to leave. Memories return.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? Oh, there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
Approach the mirror. You approach the mirror.
This doesn't feel right. It feels different. Final.
You're right. Part of me wants the truth, but something stronger is holding me back. Fear.
The voices feel small, distant as you approach. Gaze into your reflection. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave. But you need to see what's in it. You've withered. You find yourself in the long quiet once again.
I am a growing chorus of contradiction. A mass of tides ebbing and flowing all at once in more directions than my attention can bear to hold. To look at any one is to shift them all into something new, and to look away is to reshape them yet again. All of me is changing, and yet the rest of me is still the same.
What do you think of this vessel?
This one is guarded sorrow. She saw herself as alone, but in the end had the courage to share with another. She will make for a deep heart. Do not mourn her. She has finally been heard.
I'm ready to go back.
I will be here when it is time for us to meet again.
Everything goes dark and you die.
Please don't go. It's great having you here.
What? I sold some paintings lately. Maybe your brother told you?
Don't do it to me. I beg you. No.
Nothing. You have nothing to do with this decision. Where are you going?
Vincent, we can't live side by side.